G'day guys, so today we are talking about the one, the only, the cable crossover, the one that every lad out there looks at and goes, oh, I feel like a weapon when I'm diving right in and getting this exercise done. However, I'm going to throw a real spanner in the works, and I don't think the best way to do this exercise is the way that it is done traditionally. Now, traditionally, you see a lot of lads take that step forward and then they lean in and they're coming right in and they're squeezing right in. Now, what we know about our cable crossover, or what we know about any chest exercise is that by pulling our shoulder blades back and down, we promote our chest, okay? And we start to take our shoulders out of the game. When we take those shoulders out of the game, first and foremost, we get much more stimulation through our chest. And second, we remove stress going through this anterior deltoid, which whenever we do a press, whenever we do any chest work or shoulder work, it's in the game, okay? So we want to take it out of the game as much as possible because it's always in, if that makes sense. We want to limit the amount of playing time that the anterior deltoid has with any pressing exercise or any fly exercise. So by doing, or the way we can do that is obviously by pulling our shoulder blades back and down, promoting that chest. Now, with the way that people normally go about doing this exercise, you could see just before that first things first is I'm going to take that step forward and I'm going to lean into this exercise and start to cave right off, okay? You see this time and time again, especially with those last few reps where everyone's just really diving in deep, okay? Now, sure, you can pull your shoulder blades back and down, but then let's talk about range, okay? Well, yeah, you can get your full range in, but what I suggest you do is eliminate the chance of you potentially falling in this position by simply changing your angle. So instead of coming out and doing your traditional fly pattern like this, okay, and sure, you can pull your shoulder blades back and down and hold this position, but in time when fatigue sets in, just the way it is, you're going to want to round off, okay? What I would suggest you do is actually start a lot higher, like so, and enter a dumbbell row or a barbell row position. So we're actually going to start in this position here. Now, if you think about the way the pec is positioned, obviously all fly exercises are really good for the pec because it takes this point here and brings it closer to the midline. That's the idea, which is why these are called isolated exercises. But what we can do is in this position, we can very much mimic what we would do with, say, a row, and engage our lats, which is going to create a greater amount of stability in order for us to jam on and smash this chest greater than before. Plus, the fact that our weight is already up and over and coming forward, we're already generating that almost counterweight measure so that when the weight comes up, we're not going to be pulled back and relying on our feet. We can get our whole body involved and get a good squeeze through that chest. So again, if I'm coming in this position here and I take that step forward, I need to make sure the only real thing that's going to prevent me coming back is my feet, okay? But if I'm in this position, now I have my whole body weight driving forward, which allows that weight to go all the way back up, all the way back, and squeeze right in. So let's start with this. We'll come in and we're going to fall into our bent over row position now. We're actually going to come slightly forward, so we keep that tension. Now, why do I want to be slightly forward of the cables? Well, simply it mimics and mirrors how our pec looks. So if I'm slightly forward, tension's on, and our pec is coming to that midline. If I'm slightly back, then the weight is out here. We're not getting that full stretch. So, again, going to screw our feet in, knees are going to go out, allow some room for our stomach to fall in, shoulder blades are going to be back and down, and now my chest is very much promoted towards the ground. My back's in nice alignment, everything's nice and safe and secure. We're going to reach up nice and tall, okay, get a massive stretch through the chest, and squeeze back down. Now remember the trick that we want to start thinking about bringing our pinkies in at the bottom, okay? When we do this internal rotation, we're going to gain, we're going to get a lot more chest activation, and therefore, again, stimulation accumulated over a long period of time, which will result in a greater hypertrophy effect, provided that you follow your overall overload principles and so on and so forth. But we want to keep that tension on, keep that stability, and execute over and over again the same way, accumulate, and then result in hypertrophy. So again, instead of coming out and squeezing through and sort of rolling off with the chest and relying on your feet, what I would suggest you do is take a little step forward, set up like a barbell bent over row, okay? Shoulder blades back and down, allow that big stretch, squeeze through, pinkies coming through, touching at the bottom. Again, stretch, come through. And then when you start to fatigue, what you'll notice is that your body will very much be that counterweight, so it'll be your chest that fatigues and you won't be able to rock, okay? So you keep that tension on for a longer period of time, versus if you're up tall like this, okay, you can sway, you can rock, you're subjected to what's going on with the weight, okay? So that there, team, is how I would go about doing your cable crossovers. Watch your chest come alive, watch those gains come through, and before you know it, you're going to be looking like a weapon. All right, team, enjoy.